Guppy, say magic. She's been waving her magic wand around. Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to Norman in the F7F-3 Tiger Cat. I have greatly enjoyed my own F7F-3. It has slightly better stats than the regular tech tree version, this being a rare event vehicle from ages ago that is available now as a random reward in the update loot boxes. So enjoy paying $4 per spin to try and win one of these, or paying the high price on the Gaijin market in whatever the marketplace deems the appropriate price. Of course, it being a player-driven economy. I picked this up during the... oh geez, which one was it? The Merkava event. And I traded my Merkava for F7F3. I was not interested in 8.0 American gameplay. I was interested in this old beauty that I wanted ever since I saw videos of it. I skipped out on the original event because it was grindy as all heck, and I wasn't all that good at grinding in the game at that point, so I paid around 100 Gaijin coin to get my hands on this one. But again, it was free for me because I had traded, or I'd sold my Merkava at a little bit of a profit, and so I was able to pick up this one. Speaking of picking up, Norman here, climbing, as you do if you want to win or do well in an Air RB match, especially at this tier. Now, diving on his first opponent, we can hear his lawnmower engine, and now we see, looks like a heavy bomber, and now it looks like a Christmas tree. Lit up well and good by the extensive forward-firing firepower of the F7F. As with the ordinary version, it has, I think, 6 50 cals in the nose, and 4 close into the wing roots, 20 millimeters. Blaze 'em. So you can absolutely light up the enemy. And because the 20 mils and the 50 cals have slightly different shell velocity, it helps you to disperse that damage over a wide area if you're trying to get the lead on your target. So that can be quite helpful. Both the, what are they, M2, maybe M3, 20 mils, essentially Hispanos, and the M2 Modus 50 cal that you're so familiar with, hit hard in this aircraft. Diving on a BF-109, you can see the relatively high speed maneuverability of the F7F is not bad, but look how sluggish the elevator is in a loop. This is definitely not, again, the roll rate, not even close to what the 109s and Focke-Wulf's Ta 152s will have at your battle rating. So the maneuverability of this plane, just enough to get on target, not nearly enough to dogfight, and so you will be on a boom and zoom rinse repeat soundtrack with this airplane. However, even though you're limited to that playstyle, it has the armament and the engine performance to pull that off nicely. If the enemy gets a look at you, you have a massive, massive airframe that both hinders your ability to spot targets or track targets, especially while you're maneuvering, when those massive engines and that huge wing surface area, gigantic tail plane, do I need to go on? This aircraft is made out of control surfaces. Those will block your third-person view quite often. And yet, Norman having no issues as he's playing this aircraft normally. I hope you enjoyed this custom camouflage I got from life.warthunder. I tried making one of my own, but the Tiger Cat is a little bit tough to make a custom camo for. It just has so much surface area that I couldn't find something theme-wise that I was happy with. But this skin is just absolutely gorgeous, and you can find this fairly easily by searching for F7F-3 in the camouflages section of live.warthunder. It really is a beautiful camouflage. I wish I could give more credit to the person that made it, but I can't remember who they were. Pause for a second as my fridge turns on so I can isolate the audio for that. And you don't have to hear the growling of my refrigerator. My fridge is massive balls loud. It's like ridiculously loud. And I have to go into Audacity and isolate out the sounds of it to keep you guys from hearing it. So there is that. You should still be hearing a little bit of Mini Force in the background as Norman goes back to his pattern of climbing and waiting for the next enemy to boom and zoom on. If you play this aircraft this way, it's a very straightforward playstyle. You climb, you identify a target who is below you and at a lower energy state, you dive on them, you get the lead, you open up with your guns, and you pull away. And then you climb some more. Boom and zoom, lads and ladies. Boom and zoom. And this takes me back to my early days of War Thunder, when I started by playing bombers, as many people do, and then I saw that everybody who was really experienced with War Thunder was talking about how bombers are trash, and I sort of started to see how they don't have the most opportunity to make a difference in War Thunder, and Napalm Rata, of all people, challenged his viewers. Fly the P-47, don't drop below 4,000 altitude, and boom and zoom on people and see what happens. So I did exactly that. I had never had the confidence to fly fighters past the first initial tiers because I just didn't have the confidence. I didn't think I would do well. I flew the P-47, and soon enough I was getting 3 kills in a match and surviving, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I can do this. And step by step, I picked up the boom and zoom strategy, and then I picked up the energy fighting strategy, and then finally I played some turn fighters, especially with the Italian Spitfire. And I really, really enjoyed myself, and that's sort of how I developed into the pilot you see today. And if I was pressed, I'd say I'm probably a little bit better in air than I am on the ground, especially in attackers. I think that, attacker close air support is definitely my favorite play style, and I'll have to get back into flying attackers as we continue to watch Norman doing well as a boom and zoomer. It's not the most active play style, but you do have to pay attention to what's going on in the match. As HE-177 comes in, Norman just a little bit behind on his lead here, and the enemy heavy bomber moving very quickly through the skies of War Thunder, as it were. Now he's hanging on its tail, and he starts to take hits from that 20 mil, but the tanky airframe of the F7F able to absorb multiple hits from what must have been the 20 mil. The forward cowling in front of the pilot taking some damage, the wing roots blacked out on either side, and yet the F7F-3 still intact, still able to fly, able to tank quite a bit of damage, as those German 20 mils are notorious for their stopping power. And yet the fact that he survived, not all that surprising. He definitely messed up there in the sense that you don't want to linger directly behind any heavy bomber. Those defensive gunners have a straight shot at you, and even with, upwards of a huge amount of burst mass, let's put it that way, it's difficult to take down an enemy bomber fast enough to avoid damage if you're sitting directly behind them. What you want to do is get your lead on an enemy bomber when you're attacking from above, take your shots, and try to pass in front of their aircraft, and then below. That tends to keep you out of the main firing arcs of most of their guns, and it's another way of keeping your energy up and avoiding that death trap of being directly behind, lingering on the tail of a heavy bomber. Now, is that going to work out for you every time? Absolutely not. And it is getting later in the match. Taking down that bomber was important because he could have just played passively and continued to climb and made it difficult to end the match. And again, with the tanky airframe of the F7F-3, this is one of the few aircraft that you can get away with that kind of, we'll call it, aggressive gameplay as he clung to the tail of that heavy bomber to take him down. Now, since we have some more time to talk, what was I talking about? I think Norman's going to find one more person and B&Z him, and that really is the best way to play any of the Boom and Zoom aircraft. You get up to high altitude, you pay attention to what's going on in the match. Hopefully, you're the only one up there. If you have an energy fighter up at altitude with you, you might have a bad time. But with its huge wing surface area and its very powerful engines, especially at its battle rating, even 6.0, it's still one of the gruntier aircraft. The F7F-3 has no issues at high altitude. What it has is, effectively, heavy bomber engines ×2 with the ability to WEP as he gets the convergence on that final BF-109, taking him down for his 4th kill and the end of the match. Hope you guys enjoyed that relaxing, classic American Boom and Zoom gameplay in a beautiful American aircraft that follows the traditions that are established early in the World War II line of aircraft in the regular tech tree, realized finally in the heavy interceptor escort fighter F7F, and perfected in the F7F-3 Premium, which is available on the marketplace thanks to the mighty snail's decision to put it into a loot box. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.